Getting jacked and cracked with Dr. Max. Look at that. Now, if that ain't motivation, everybody, let's
That's
go.
it.
Welcome to Jacked and Cracked, the podcast where chiropractic care, fitness, and real-life stories come together. Get insights, practical tips, and everything you need to move better and live stronger.
Welcome back to the Jacked and Cracked podcast. I'm your host, Zebulon Thomas, and this is host Dr. Max.
Hey, guys.
And first of all, I want to say, how many of you guys listened to last episode? Did you get your sleep in? Did you get your squats in? And are you getting plenty of sex, right? Are you boosting your, your
3 S's. Yep.
Yes. And if you missed it, that's a natural way to boost testosterone. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a really great episode. Like, I learned a lot from you, Dr. Max. I thought it was great. Awesome. The fact that we could just do it naturally is cool. Speaking of just more stuff you can do to help yourself grow stronger, more energy, more vibrant, I guess you would say. Let's talk about post-workout drinks and supplements. So what are you doing today that you'd like to share with us that you're using? Because I thought it was cool.
Yeah. So you guys probably have noticed in these videos that we're filming, I'm usually drinking at something, or I've got something sitting next to me. It's because I'm usually coming in and we're filming this right after I finish a workout in the gym in the back. So that post-workout nutrition is very, very important. Sometimes it comes up with people that they say, oh, well, I've heard if you eat the right things, you don't need to do any of those supplements and workout drinks. And to be honest, it's completely true. If you had a pristine diet, you wouldn't have to take any supplements. And if you dieted for your goal, let's say your goal is to put on muscle. So if you dieted exactly for that goal properly, you could exclude the need for any supplementation. However, for most of us, that's not a reality. The other thing is, it's very hard to come up with food that is equally effective to these scientifically designed, let's call this one, post-workout drink. Because I actually heard Dr. Mike Israetel put it great. He's from Renaissance Periodization. Someone asked him, hey, what's better, a meal or a protein shake after a workout? And the answer was surprising, actually. It surprised me anyways, because I thought he was going to say a meal. But instead he said, a post-workout, a protein shake, just a quality one.
Yeah.
He said it was that way because he said they take all of the bad stuff out of, if you're consuming a good one, they take all of the bad stuff that would be in your meal that you don't really need, and they throw it out. The post-workout drink just has what you need in it after your workout. So your body doesn't have to process anything else. It's just processing the necessities. I thought that was a really interesting and great point to make. We aren't sponsored by any companies or anything like that. I have been in the past, but anything I suggest here is just my own experience and what I like to use. I don't get any kickbacks. I don't get any free supplements or anything like that from the companies. But for me, after a workout, because my goal is still muscle building, or we call it hypertrophy, I always want to target that angle when it comes to my workouts, which means after a workout, you need to make sure you get calories in because you just burned calories. So you just burn calories in your workout. If you don't put calories back in, you're just going to be at a deficit, right? So you're going to be shrinking. So if your goal was to burn fat and lose weight and lean up, then you might not immediately try to add a whole bunch of calories back into the system. And maybe you would just do just a protein shake with just protein in it. I, however, don't do that because I'm always trying to put more muscle on. So for me, what's in here right now is 2 supplements, but the 2 supplements are actually about 4 different things. So the first thing I use is creatine monohydrate. This has been around as long as forever, pretty much. And creatine is a lot of people don't know what creatine actually is. It's a non-essential amino acid. So amino acids are what proteins get broken down into within the body through digestion. So they're the building blocks of a protein. So most amino acids that we think about when we think about what we need to get in the system are what are called essential amino acids, meaning we've decided they're essential to human existence and our body's function. And then they call the other ones non-essential, and we don't talk about many of those at all. In fact, the only one people really know about is creatine, and most of the time they don't know it's a non-essential amino acid.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. So some people think it's like bordering a steroid, or it's this nebulous thing that we don't really know what it is. And there's actually copious amounts of research on creatine and its efficacy with workouts. Creatine doesn't in and of itself make your muscles bigger. It doesn't make the muscle fiber bigger. What it does two things. One, it's hydrophilic, meaning it draws water to itself. It likes water. So what it does is it gets inside your system, and then if taken properly, it draws water to itself, and then it gets inside your muscle fibers and hydrates them. So because it hydrates the muscle fiber, it adds water to the muscle fiber, it can increase muscularity, and it will actually make that muscle weigh more because it's got water in it. So you do gain water weight with creatine if taken properly. But that, if taken properly, it can increase muscularity. If taken improperly, the creatine will draw water to itself and sit outside of the muscle and give you more of that puffy appearance.
So taking it improperly would be like taking it and not working out.
That would be like, exactly. Your body, I found the best way to take creatine is when your body is thirsty for it. Your body is thirsty for creatine when it has just expended creatine. Your body uses creatine during the initiation of movement of typically anaerobic activity. So let's say your bicep curl, right? So the first, basically it's about 0 to 16 seconds. That's your creatine stores, right? So you have your own creatine. You get it from skeletal muscle. So most of us get it through eating meat in our diet, assuming you have a balanced diet in that way. If you're vegetarian or vegan, you probably have less creatine in your system, and you should probably supplement it if you're working out for hypertrophy. And I, in my opinion, you should supplement it anyway.
And you take that. So if I was like, because I'm a vegetarian, so supplementing it for me would not be just taking it on daily. It would be taking it after a workout, and preferably an aerobic workout. And just to clarify, aerobic, anaerobic is something I learned a long time ago. Aerobic is long form workout, like running and stuff, and anaerobic is short burst, right?
Yep. Yeah, your weights, stuff like that. It could be calisthenic actually, but it's more like a power explosive, that type of workout. And so that's when your body will respond and absorb the creatine. If you haven't given your body a reason to want creatine, it's less likely to absorb it. So you spend your creatine, which then creates almost like this vacuum effect where your body is thirsting for creatine to put back into the muscle cells after a workout. So that's when you want to take your creatine so that you can replenish it. And the nice thing is when you take a supplement form, you're adding more energy into the system. And that's actually what creatine does. Like I said, it is your energy source for short form movements, basically like a set of bicep curls or a bench press. And that is the other way that it helps with hypertrophy training, is that it increases your capacity to do weight training and create power. So in doing that, you have a better workout, you have a tougher workout, you move more weight than you would have normally moved, or more reps than you would have normally done. And because you do that, and because the workout was more challenging, now your body is going to respond by building more muscle because you challenge yourself more. So the creatine doesn't directly build your muscles and make them bigger, although it does hydrate them. What it does is it allows you to then train harder so that you will build bigger muscles. So the other thing that people will do that's sometimes a mistake on creatine is they're working out, they have their routine, they've never taken creatine before. They take the creatine, but they don't increase the intensity of their workout, even though the creatine's in the system, and allows them to increase the intensity from like a biophysiologic standpoint. They just keep doing the same type of workout. And because they keep doing the same type of workout, they're like, creatine didn't work for me. I just feel like I put on water weight. And you're like, well, it's more like you didn't work for the creatine rather than the creatine not working for you. You brought the creatine in and then you didn't do anything with it. So
in short, it's correct what they say that creatine puts water in the muscle.
Yeah, absolutely. And so because of that, you need to make sure you're hydrating well.
So you want to give yourself more water, because otherwise it's going to be trying to find water, and it's
create cramp. They used to call it creatine cramp, actually.
Okay.
So it's really important that you're consuming, I usually say half your body weight in fluid ounces of water or the equivalent.
Okay.
Anything that isn't caffeinated or alcoholic, I always say counts. So if you like lemonade or Gatorade or something like that, you can consume that. Of course, we get into other stuff about dyes and sugars and all that stuff. But
well, actually, sorry, go ahead. I want you to continue that part.
Yeah. So but again, milk, juice, water itself, any of that stuff counts. Your drink counts. So that, if I fill this up with 20 ounces of water and I put creatine in it, well, there's 20 ounces right there.
Okay. So you don't have to add more water if you're taking it with, like, you don't need to just say, hey, this is half my body weight, drink this, and then add to it.
Yeah, and you want to do it throughout the day too, because if you overload your body with water, let's say you're like, shoot, I got to the end of the day, I didn't really drink any water. You really should drink water, but if you drink too much of it in one bout, it triggers a reflex that causes you to just urinate, and that's not what you're trying to do by hydrating when you consume creatine. There's a difference between flushing and cleansing and hydrating when it comes to water intake. And this is another mistake a lot of people make. So this is a little bit of a tangent.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say, oh, I'm really good at consuming water. I drink a ton of water. And then I'll ask them, well, do you eat any salt in your diet? And they're like, no, I never eat salt. And you're like, okay, well, you're not hydrating then. You're cleansing. The water will go where the salt is, essentially. And so we need to make sure that your body has a reason to retain some of this water because it needs it, actually. You need to be hydrated. So cleansing the body is great. Consuming water to detox the body and cleanse things out, toxins out of the body, that's very, very important. But we also want to make sure we're properly hydrated. And the creatine is going to draw water to itself. So it's going to hydrate the body, right? It's going to give further incentive to hydrate the body. So it's going to try to grab the water and keep it in the body rather than flushing through it. If you drink a whole bunch of water at once because you weren't good about drinking it throughout the day, it creates a reflex in your system that causes you to just urinate. So now you're more in the cleansing pattern and less in the hydrating pattern. So it is important to get your water consumption throughout the day, period, but especially when you're taking creatine, and not just in one big shot, not just like, oh, I just drank a gallon of water at the end of the night because I didn't drink it through the whole work day. That's not necessarily going to hydrate.
Then you're peeing to bed.
You just pee to bed.
But actually, this brings us into a really good, like, next thing to the right here is, okay, so we're talking about hydration now. Now we're also talking about cleansing. We're talking about the salt, which also leads into electrolytes. So before we get into the electrolyte part, so from what I understand from what you said, is drinking a lot of water without salt, right? I want to talk about the salts. It's allowing me to cleanse my body, which explains why when I drink a bunch of water throughout the day and maybe I'm doing office work or editing videos and I'm not active, I'm just peeing. But if I drink a lot of water, I'm in the field filming with the cameras and I'm running around, I'm being more active, and I don't find myself having to pee as much because my body is using that.
Using the water.
Which probably because, when you, maybe I'm wrong here, but when you sweat, you're sweating out a lot of salts and electrolytes.
Yep.
And so maybe that's, I'm just using the water. So first, let's talk about the salt. What kind of salt can I add to my water? Is there a special salt? Like, how do I get more salt? And it's not just your table salt, I'm assuming. This is probably a different type of salt.
You can use table salt because it is still hydrophilic. It'll pull water to itself. I use a company called LMNT, the letters LMNT, but it's kind of a play on letters there because it's, if you say it quick, it's like element T. Because
I've heard of that, yes.
Salts are elements, and it's like tea, like the tea you drink.
Yes.
So it's a clever play on letters, but it's LMNT. And they have a million different flavors, from like chocolate to raspberry and citrus that basically taste like Gatorade. The Gatorade from when you and I grew up. So it doesn't taste like Gatorade now. It tastes like how Gatorade used to taste.
That real kicked.
Yeah. It's got they have spicy flavors, they have all kinds of stuff. So I use that product and I think it's very good. So that's another one. I don't put that in my post-workout drink, but I will drink that throughout the day because electrolytes, they have a million benefits in addition to.
So that's the salt and electrolytes, the same thing?
Yes, same thing. So salt, electrolytes, I'm kind of using them interchangeably here. But yes, the electrolytes are a form of salt.
Salt. Okay. So getting from that company, which I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen it. It's like the two letters and top and bottom. That's how they spell it.
You got it.
It's like a square. I just found out about this. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should. And it's good that you recommend it because, I think every one of us can benefit. Maybe, first of all, I think everyone, like you said, should be taking the creatine and working out. That's working out. But let's just say someone's not as active working out, at least be getting in those electrolytes, the salts throughout your day, because that'll help you as well.
Absolutely. Also, that nerve function, all kinds of stuff. So it's great. And that's wrangling it back to what we were talking about. So there's creatine in here. I've got this high-tech pharmaceutical. This is just creatine monohydrate. When you take creatine monohydrate, you need sugar because the sugar or carbohydrates turn into sugar in our system. It helps with the absorption of the creatine. And I can get into the weeds a little bit, but I'm not going to. Just trust me on this and on research. The sugar creates a response in the body that I always say it's like pulling the goalie so you can score. And the ball is the creatine. So the sugar gets that goalie out of the way so that we can get the creatine into the cell with the water that it's now attracted. So you can do a lot of different things. On the back of this, it says put it in grape juice. I don't do that. My post-workout drink that I put it with is this Aftershock by Myogenics. I like this supplement because it's a protein, it's a carb, it has a little bit of creatine and isolated aminos in it, and it has a joint complex in there too, which I like.
Oh, nice.
The reason I like it is because I don't like having to have 15 different things that I'm pouring in here and then it ends up tasting like crap. And I'm having to keep track of all my different supplements. And even from an expense standpoint, though Aftershock is not cheap, when you consider all of the things in it, and if you were to buy all of those supplements individually, it's extremely cheap. It's about half the cost of what everything by itself would cost. So it's very, very affordable for what it does, but it has the carbohydrate in there. And the carbohydrate's important because not only is it going to help me absorb my creatine, but your body uses those carbs as energy for muscle building. And you just spent a whole bunch of carbs in your workout, so you need to replenish that. So I like that supplement. As I mentioned, my goal is hypertrophy, putting on muscle. So I like that supplement because it's got a little more creatine in it. So total, I'm taking about 10 grams of creatine.
So you can take creatine with creatine.
With creatine, okay. Yeah. We butter our bread with butter. we add creatine to our creatine. That's the trick. So I'm taking about 10 grams of creatine total. On workout days, but I only work out 3 days a week, as you may recall from other videos we've done. So 3 days a week, I'm taking 10 grams of creatine immediately following the workout. So I don't do the stereotypical load for a week and then you take 5 grams every day for the rest of your life. As I mentioned, doesn't make a ton of sense to me to take creatine on a day that I'm not working out because my body's not looking for that creatine.
So you're doing 3 days a week and you look, show us your muscle. Give us a flick. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. This man's beautiful.
It's just 10 grams. It's just creatine and
just
spinach.
He's like creatine, that's amazing. But I mean, 3 days a week. I mean, obviously you've been working out for a long time, so you built that. What's the most amount of workouts you used to do to get to this point? Or has it always been a 3 day a week?
No. It definitely before kids and before the office really took out. I was probably more like a 4 to 5 day weeker.
Okay.
Through undergrad and through Chiro school, I did MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So even when I wasn't working out in the gym, I was doing that. So there was always a degree of fitness, but you need to come up with a type of fitness that's sustainable to you. And I would tell you that though my fitness as far as the ability to go run a mile, throw some weights around, and then roll with somebody on a jiu-jitsu mat was better when I was in my early 20s, I would tell you that physique-wise, my general aesthetic is it's just improved throughout the years. And you've known me throughout the years, right? You've known me for 11 years. It's not like you go, oh, Dr. Max used to be way more jacked. I've actually put more muscle mass and weight on now than I had, 12 years ago when I opened that.
Yeah, you've definitely filled out more, and you've always been jacked, hand cracked. You've always been jacked, and I would say also, I feel like you're chiseled in a way. Like you're sculpted. Like 3 days a week, you're working out, which is incredible because it just lets everyone should listen to this and say, no matter if you're going to college or you're going to school or you're got a busy job and now you got family, there's no reason why you can't get it in, right?
Yeah,
and
3 days a week. Right.
Yeah, 3 days a week. And those are usually what? You're doing like 30, 40 minutes, hour, 2 hours? What are you doing?
About an hour, hour and a half. There's some gabbing in there because I always have my my buddies in there too. So if I were to just do my workout by myself, throw some headphones on and just do it, it would take me about 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
So like if I go on vacation and my wife and I are working out and we just like, I'll wear one earbud, she'll wear the other, and we'll like knock our workout out.
Oh, cool.
It takes me like 45 minutes to hit a workout. But
first of all, I didn't know you could do that. I actually just put my head next to my wife's ear and
do that, just get real close. Just
that's
stop moving.
Boy, I was an idiot. No.
Yeah, we figured that. Actually, we came out that the last time we were on vacation.
That's
she
cool.
forgot her earphones and she was furious. So I was like, "Here, you wear one, I'll wear the other."
See, like I feel like
We're
you know
listening to
what?
the
That
same
might be an
music.
episode.
Yeah.
It'd be an awesome episode to have you and your wife on, and then talk about how to work out together, because my wife and I, we try to work out, but we're not on the same pace, and she doesn't really, she likes to be in her zone, and so we clash. So it's cool to have a couple workout sessions, and it works on vacation. That'd be a great episode.
Absolutely. And sometimes we work out together doing the same thing. Sometimes we're just adjacent. We're like, it's kind of like how like 3-year-olds do parallel play. They like don't play together, but they're playing next to each other. That's kind of Chrissy and I too when we're training sometimes.
Which I will say this, I filmed both of you guys. I filmed both of them doing the most amazing workouts and competing, and they blow my mind. It's like whoa, like Chrissy comes through with something crazy. I'm like, wow, like, and then Max obviously comes through with craziness, and it's all inspiring, and it's just really cool when you have that relationship that is a fit and healthy relationship in so many ways. So good
she
work.
definitely keeps me on track, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some components when it comes to maintaining the aesthetic side of your fitness, but also just the health, wellness, live well, live longer side, right? Like it's my responsibility to her as her husband to keep myself healthy, to not be a drain on her, to not be someone she has to take care of, to make sure that I can be the best version of myself to carry my half of the household. And then she takes it equally serious. So we're accountable to one another in that respect. The other thing, it's the tale's oldest time, right? You marry the person and they look one way. And then after kids and life and work, they look a completely different way. And, you go see that person wedding photos and you're like, who are these two people? And they're like, oh, that's us. And you're like, oh, okay. You really let her rip afterwards.
What?
But
what happened? But it could be the opposite. It could be the opposite.
Right. And that's the thing. Is that for Chrissy and I, we've always held each other accountable. I've always said it was important for me to make sure that I look a certain way, that she started dating me looking a certain way. She married me looking a certain way. So there's an expectation there that I never really want to fall short of. And she does a great job of doing that too. And her job's much harder, right? Because she's now had 3 kids.
Yeah.
So their bodies go through so much more turmoil than ours do. And their hormone cycle is also just much more steep than ours. Our hormone cycle does this, theirs does this. And so it's so much harder for women, getting into their 30s, 40s, 50s to still generate the level of fitness that they were in their 20s. And Chrissy does a great job with it. My wife is more attractive today than she was the day I married her.
That's awesome.
And she holds herself accountable to all of those things too, and so it really helps, like you said, in a relationship that we're tied together. Again,
motivating each other.
Yeah.
I actually have another question too, and maybe this could be for another episode. We're talking about the creatine. We're talking about that big. First of all, why is the bag so big? Is it so because you're just big? You got a bigger bag.
I'm actually a small guy, and this is a normal size bag. This is the size of a normal Ziploc.
Yeah, if I held it, it would be like
I got short muscle tendons. It's actually I'm a 4 foot tall man, and this is just a normal size bag.
Yeah,
it's a sandwich bag.
This is a sandwich bag.
This is their 5-pound bag. It's just because I don't like having to crack open a new. They sell much smaller.
They should probably have on it. If you can't lift our bag, you can't. You just shouldn't be taking.
You shouldn't take. Yeah, you're not there yet. Yeah, you need to level up.
But I was gonna say, like, okay, so with the creatine, with that, is it so if you're female, are you taking a different set of those supplements, or you're
taking the same supplement, just less of it?
Okay.
So my wife does the same exact regimen. She takes a creatine here, she takes the aftershock, and the difference is she's not taking probably 10 grams because it is a per body weight thing. She's probably taking about 7 grams of creatine and a little less than the full serving of the protein and carbs that are in this too. So it's still per body weight, because when they dose supplements, by the way, it was explained to me once that all supplements are dosed based on a 185-pound man. So when you're deciding how much of a supplement you should take or how suitable it is for you, a lot of the supplement dosing is based on, again, 185-pound male. So I'm a 230-pound male. So I should probably take more than whatever the basic dosing is for this.
Okay.
That's not true for pre-workouts, by the way. You really hurt yourself if you take too much pre-workout. In fact, I would never scale a pre-workout up, but I would scale it down.
Okay.
So for example, if you have an intense pre-workout, I'll still just take the normal dosage of it. Let's say it has 300 milligrams caffeine. I'll just take 300, but I'll tell my wife to maybe take 2/3 of that. She'd take 200 milligrams. Smaller body, that's going to hit her differently. So,
okay.
So that's something to keep in mind too when it comes to supplementation. That was a great question.
Yeah.
You're getting the protein into post-workout. That is extremely important. The reason you need that protein is because you're actually trying to build the muscles, and that's what muscles are made out of. You want a fast-acting protein like a whey or a whey isolate protein. So you don't want to take a slow-acting protein, let's say like egg protein, that takes a little longer to get into the system because your body is starving for it and it wants it now. Mm-hmm. So you want to give it what it's looking for right in that moment. It's not that egg protein's bad for you. It's just that immediately following a workout, if you're trying to maximize that workout, that's when whey protein would be a great choice. Okay. So that's the protein, the carbs, the creatine. Again, I like this one because the joint complex in there too. I think that's nice. That's just, sprinkles on top though. That's not a requirement. But it's just a nice added thing that they put in there too.
Looking for real relief and lasting wellness? At the Healthiest You Chiropractic Center in Strongsville, Dr. Maximillian Zart and his expert team have been helping families move better and live pain-free for over 10 years. From kids to seniors, chronic pain to sports injuries, we've got your back. With personalized care, cutting-edge techniques, and a whole-body approach, we'll help you become the healthiest version of yourself. Book your visit today at thychiro.com. That's thychiro.com.
When it comes to these drinks, I don't even know where these drinks fall in place, but there's these drinks that are sponsored. I mean, I'm not going to name a brand name, but you have some in your cooler.
Like C4, yeah, C4.
I noticed some of those have,
they
have creatine in them. They have 300 milligrams of caffeine. They have all this other great stuff, vitamin B, vitamin. All
B's and stuff like that. Yep.
B12. Yeah. And so is the creatine the same in those drinks? Let's just focus on the creatine.
Yeah. A lot of times it's not. A lot of times they have creatine malate, not the monohydrate. And it just has to do with absorption, really.
Okay.
Creatine has been shown to help with mental acuity. So there is a component there that there is some research behind. When it comes to those energy drinks, here's the thing. I'll tell you, this is where I'm not a holier than thou person. I never really acquired the taste for coffee. And if I did, I would love to do bulletproof coffee in the morning. The problem is I don't like it. I don't like how it tastes. Mm-hmm. And I get so close to people with adjusting them with chiropractic that I don't really want to have coffee breath.
Feels like a stale coffee bean.
Everybody. Exactly. So because of that, one of my vices is energy drinks. I always try to go with, when you're picking out an energy drink, like, number one thing, is it clear? Because if it's not clear, it's got dye in it.
Oh.
So, if you want to be mindful of the dyes, and I know RFK right now, that's like his big thing, removing dyes from like kids' cereals and all of that stuff. Like, dye is just bad for you. We could do a whole episode on that. But
absolutely, is
the drink clear? If it's clear, more likely than not, it doesn't have any dye in it because it's clear. So that's good. That's at least one check in the right category. You're going to be hard pressed to find an effective energy drink that tastes good, that doesn't have stuff in it that you're going to wince at, right? Sucralose is probably the biggie, is artificial sweetener, because you're saying, okay, well, I don't want a ton of sugar in my energy drink because that'll cause me to crash, right? Then I get the caffeine, I get the sugar, I'm going to peak out. And then once that initial, sugar high wears off, I'm going to bottom out real hard. I'm going to crash real hard off of it. That'll be like your original Monster, the black can with the green claw mark.
It tastes like gasoline, yeah.
Yeah, so like hurts your teeth. It's so powerful. So, but those, like, they're very effective. They pick you up real hard, but then they bottom you out real bad. So you might be looking for one that doesn't have sugar in it, so you just get that caffeine effect. But again, in order to make it taste good, they're going to put an artificial sweetener in there. Every now and then you can find one that has like stevia or one of those artificial sweeteners that isn't quite so bad for you.
Less potent. Okay.
Yeah, but the problem is that usually then they don't taste great. So we carry C4 in ours, and it definitely has stuff in it that is not great for you. So yet another reason to drink plenty of water, so you're hopefully flushing those toxins out of the body. So admittedly, I drink that stuff. I admit entirely, as a father of 3 young children and running the chiropractic office here and the CrossFit gym back there, that I am completely dependent on caffeine. If I didn't have, when I forget to take it in a day, I definitely get the withdrawal.
But you're working out, and like a lot of these people are just sitting on the couch watching TV, playing games. They're drinking all this crap. They're not flushing it out. You're actively working out, so it's, if anything, it's just flushing right through. And it's like pick your poison in life. Like, you can still enjoy things. You can have the chocolate cake. You can have some of the stuff. But how hard are you pushing to earn that?
Yeah.
Like, it's not. What? Maybe a Big Mac's not going to put on a couple pounds if you have it once and you're working out, but maybe you shouldn't. I don't know.
It's like, you got to pick your vices.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to not just be a life full of them. Right. So we've gone through these talks and talked about all the good steps I make, but I don't want to give off a holier than thou perspective. And I don't want to create an example that's unobtainable for people. Like, I do energy drinks. I love the Monster textured white can, those are delicious, man. Those are
absolutely.
I would drink that if it didn't have caffeine in it. It just tastes good. Like, that flavor is just wonderful. So that's where I get my caffeine typically. Like, yes, could I just do like caffeine pills and drink it with water? That would probably get it done. But I also like the taste of the energy drink.
And you're not taking it all at once too. I mean, those caffeine pills will jack you up real quick.
Yeah, they juice you. And you're not wrong. I sip my energy drink throughout the day in between each patient.
Yeah, when he sets it down, I'm at the office, I take a few sips too. No.
Yeah, right. He sneaks over, he's ripping my.
He wonders why it's half missing. Right. And why are you shaking? I'm like, I try to be like you, Dr. Max.
He's all amped up when he's getting adjusted. So yeah, it's just, that's kind of a pick your poison one. I like sugar-free ones so that you don't have that fall off. I like them being clear so that you don't have to worry as much about the dye. So that's one less bad thing in it. You try. What you really want to see on the back of the can is as few ingredients as possible. So you read the nutrition label, and then you go down below the nutrition label part, and in the other ingredients, that part there, you want as few words as possible there, because the more words in there is usually the more bad stuff in there, because the stuff that's good for you gets mentioned in the nutritional facts above that block. So that's all the good stuff. That's your vitamin B's and all of that stuff. Maybe there's a little beta alanine, give you a little tingle, or some citrulline or something like that. But the part at the bottom, that other ingredients, that's usually where they tuck in, your sucraloses and different artificial sweeteners, the stuff like that. And you just want that thing to not look like a paragraph, but maybe just like 2 or 3 lines. So, they're not putting as many different things in there that you really don't want to be consuming too much of on a daily basis.
If I have to walk around the office reading this thing to you, it's probably not what I should be drinking.
It's not great. I just had a gym member in the back. I was just working out, and he said, well, I take this energy drink. It really picks me up and makes me feel good, and it's clean. And the company was called like Beyond Raw. I think it's GNC's company, actually. So the name implies, hey, this thing's really clean. But I could tell because he was drinking at it, but it wasn't empty. Like, it's blue.
It's blue.
So like, there's dye in it. Like, I don't even need to look at the label to be like, that's dyed.
Yeah, it's not good.
You called it Beyond Raw. Like, you're implying to people consuming this that it's this real clean, healthy, raw product.
Yeah.
And then you put dye in it. And what was the point of putting dye in it? Like, dye doesn't affect the taste or anything like that. It's strictly from a mental perspective. Like, this one's blue raspberry, so it's blue.
Yeah.
But it's in a can, so you don't even see it. It's in a can. It's not transparent. You can't see it. So it's kind of funny for them to even bother to call themselves Beyond Raw and then dye their products. And sure enough, turned it around. There's dye in it. And I'm like, it's, it's got sucralose and it's got
Yeah,
diet. My energy drink just has sucralose. So actually your
absolutely.
Beyond Raw one has more, unnecessary stuff, more of the bad stuff.
Oh,
The FDA has regulation on certain terms. Organic is one of them, where organic means something on a label, but words like natural and raw, you can just stamp on something. There's nothing about putting those words on your label that influence what's in the product. So you can put raw on there and have a whole bunch of synthetic crap in it.
mm-hmm.
And so, but it's deceiving, right? It's deceiving to
Yeah.
the consumer because they're like, I'm doing the right thing. I'm consuming this drink that says raw. And I kind of cut myself off. That the company Raw that Chris Bumstead supports, I actually love that company and we sell their products. So they're wonderful. So I don't mean this as a direct attack to the company Raw. This was actually Beyond Raw. Like I said, I think it's GNC's company.
Well, plus I feel like people need to understand
product.
that, like, there's levels of eating, there's levels of supplements. There's like, it's like you're working your way up. So maybe you're at a trash diet right now and you're starting to work out. Eating anything cleaner than what you're eating now is going to be better. So eating that's still going to be better than the crap you were consuming. And then
100%.
only when you get to a level of maybe competition or extreme obsessiveness about your body, that you would probably be eliminating all types of these things and be very picky and a stickler on what you put in.
Yeah.
But for the most active person that's being fit, these things, they might have some stuff that's not the best for you, but it's not a ho-ho, it's not a Twinkie, it's not an alcohol, it's not that destructive.
To be honest, I would tell you it's still probably better than your Starbucks flavored frou-frou coffee drink, and they're more affordable. So like you said, you're still making steps in the right direction by making those small steps. And sometimes that's how you have to conquer it. You can't conquer it in one giant leap. You have to make these smaller strides. So you're exactly right.
Because even as a coffee lover myself, like, I want to get the big coffee machine where I'm making my own, grinding my beans down, right? You know what I'm saying? But then you look at it like I'm using a Keurig machine, right? So, but then, I just got the eco, pods or whatever they called, and it's like, because if you're using the other ones, you got the plastic and it's heating up through the plastic, and now you got the, now it's a bag instead of, it's like you can look at all these things, like, again, pick your poison. What are you doing? Like, if you're just consuming all the crap, then that's how you're going to be. Like, that's how you're going to feel. Yeah. But if you're exercising, I'll
tell you, some of the most challenging people for me to interact with on a day-to-day basis are the people who pick the little nuanced thing to critique about someone's lifestyle or diet, but they themselves they don't do that thing, but then over here they're doing a whole bunch of stuff wrong. And you're like, I don't know where your line is.
Like, at least where are you looking?
In mine, like, it's a clear defined line. Like, energy drinks are my vice. I'm over here with that. I don't, as you know, maybe we've talked about it, maybe we haven't, but I don't really drink alcohol. That might come up like maybe 3 to 6 times a year. I might have a beer, but it's like really pretty much never. And some years it might even be less than that. So like,
with that,
no drugs, no smoking, nothing like that. So like, I picked my vice and it's that. So where my line is. So like, when you're interacting with me and when I'm talking to you about advice, I fully acknowledge where my vice exists, but it's just a straight line. But it's bizarre when you have someone who you'll watch, like, get completely plastered, but then chirp you about the BPAs in the plastic of your shaker cup.
Oh yeah, right, exactly.
Like,
like, what's the BPA level on? I've had that asked.
I just watched you get completely sloppy drunk like today, and you're going to chirp me about BPA.
It's 2:00 in the afternoon. Why are you drunk?
Exactly. Like, where the hell is your line? Like,
and then they would be like, well, my beer was in a bottle. It was a glass bottle. There's no BPA in my beer.
So no BPA in the thing.
I just I just got extra hops in my plastic. So
and those are the people too that always have glommed onto like the one research article that supports all of their bad choices, as opposed to like the countless ones that oppose it. Right. So it seems like they're like, well, I read this one book, and you're like, awesome, that's cool that you can read. Well, pretty much everyone can have an opinion about anything. So one book telling you to do it one way really doesn't make it fact.
That's right. Well, and that's the other thing is like, so in the cigar world, right? Because I smoke cigars, but I don't do them a lot. And, you know, because like one of the things is like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he obviously loves a good cigar and he smokes one daily. But if you ever listen to him talk about it, he's like, I smoke one, don't smoke more than one. Now, I'm sure there's days where he smokes more than one, right? Yeah. But look at Arnold, right? Like he's been working out his entire life. There's guys that like, even with the cigar stuff, they smoke them like one after another. And I'm like, listen, yeah, they might be null in the fact of like the chemicals and the stuff they can do for you, but it's still a tobacco. It's still a toxin. You got to limit it. So, you know, a celebrating cigar once in a while is okay. Maybe, you know, I won't say okay on this episode because I'm just going to say like you got to pick your vice.
But I understand you're picking your vices.
Yeah, it's just you know, how much sugar. Like we might be like, oh, you smoke cigars, but how much sugar are you taking in? You know, like,
absolutely.
Sugar is just anything in massive amounts is bad for you.
Even the good stuff. Good stuff can be bad for you if you consume too much of it, right?
Speaking of which, left to that, I a long time ago there was a girl who she was on like, what is it? I want to say it was 30 or 100. I could be over exaggerating this, but 30 or 100 bananas a day. She lived off of bananas. She lived on an island.
Yeah, geez.
I don't think that's good. Like even bananas, that's too much of something.
It's too much. Yeah, it's a high glycemic carb, so that causes a crazy insulin response and could totally create diabetes for you.
Off of bananas.
It's just off of bananas, which like one can be really good for you. You know, one is like what marathon runners eat after the marathon.
Yeah, but then you eat too much.
You can do too much of it. Absolutely. That's true of everything. It's not always if a little does a little good, a lot does a lot good. It's everything in moderation, including your vices. But yeah, that was kind of a great question to include in here with the supplement talk and everything is those energy drinks and everything too, especially because I'm a sucker for them.
So it is okay to take creatine with creatine and some of it. It's definitely okay to take a supplement, after your workout, like a pre-workout, and then there's a post-workout. Get it in before you work out.
Yeah. And if you weren't going to, some foods that I think have great nutrient profiles that you could consume. Let's say you didn't want to do these post-workouts and you wanted to maybe you're working out on a budget.
Yeah.
So you really have to pick where you spend your money. Maybe you're spending it on the gym you go to instead, or your healthy foods and your grocery bill. Then some great affordable foods post-workout would be yogurt with all the stuff in it. Not the no-fat yogurt, just let it have the fat and everything in it. Yogurt has a really good nutrient profile post-workout, and usually like your peanut butter, almond butter, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So go get yourself some natural peanut butter and just knock down a scoop or two of that. That would be a great way.
You're talking like on a spoon.
Yeah, just
boom.
Eat it. There you go.
Stick the spoon back in there.
And then and then go back to it, right? So those would be a couple of foods that are really affordable, that have a great nutrient profile for what you're looking to get after a workout. Now, it's not going to have the creatine part in it.
You're saying after workout, get the
after a workout, yeah. And so that maybe the creatine isn't your goal, because my goal is increasing strength and hypertrophy and everything like that. Maybe you're looking to lean out and cut down, and maybe adding the additional water weight might bother you more mentally and emotionally when you see that scale number go the direction you don't want it to. Right. So even though you know why it's there and it's explainable and it doesn't mean you're getting fatter or anything like that, it's still, sometimes that can mess with people. So yeah, if you're not looking for getting the creatine in or anything like that, just a couple spoonfuls of peanut butter or a good yogurt, good Greek yogurt could be great. You could also get the creatine and just sprinkle the creatine on your yogurt. Creatine's typically tasteless. So you throw it in there.
Oh, so when I see some of these videos, we should do a reaction video to this. You ever see those people that are taking just the scoop and just
dry scoop it?
What's that all about?
Oh my gosh, that's just killing yourself. No,
why?
It's just there's no reason why. It's being weird. It's hazing yourself,
misusing it.
Because actually by turning, your body absorbs liquids faster than it absorbs solids. So actually making it a powder doesn't even increase its absorption. Mixing it into water actually makes it more absorbable because your body absorbs liquids easier.
That's right.
So you're making it a solid by consuming it as a powder. There's no like major absorption reason or anything like that. It's bizarre. A lot of times they chase it with the water anyways. So you're like, why wouldn't you just put it in the water? And
oh man,
it's But I think it's just people hazing themselves. I have gym members that do it. They
so
just do it. They
weird.
feel like it helps them. I think it's more of like the hormonal aspect of like
Yeah.
they just ripped this powder
Yeah,
that
what's
probably tastes
what
like
up now? Just
a little acidic and
it's
sweet
the
and whatever.
it's the
So it
beer
just kind
can,
of
right? Like the
yeah, it's exactly.
There's-
It's kind of more like the psychological effect that it has when when you tank it like that. But
yeah.
yeah, no, dry scooping is not something that actually provides any sort of additional benefit. It doesn't work harder because you dry scooped it or anything like that. In fact, it would work better if you just diluted it in a smaller amount of water. But this is a good question, but kind of leads to another question. When people feel like their pre-workout maybe isn't working or their energy drink isn't working, a lot of times it's because they dilute it with too much water or they sip at it. I was just working out with a guy yesterday or 2 days ago, and he had filled this shaker cup 20 ounces up with water, then put his pre-workout in it. Well, that's not how you should take a pre-workout. There should be like 6 ounces of water. Otherwise, you're diluting the pre-workout, so you're diluting its effects also. And then he was sipping at it.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that's not actually how you want to take it. You want it to all get into the system and have its clinical effect based on your body weight all in one go. If you partition it out, if you dilute the water and then you partition it out through your whole workout, you're really never going to get that boom, I'm ready to work out effect.
Yeah.
So you might feel like your pre-workout isn't even doing anything, but really it's just, again, I go back to it's not the pre-workout not working for you. It's like you're not working for the pre-workout.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You need to just 6 ounces of water and just drink it in one go. Just boom, knock it down. Now you're ready to rumble. And that'll have more of an effect than even dry scooping it. Because like I said, your body will absorb that liquid easier than it absorbs the solid, which is the powder.
And that'll probably be the same as after you're done working out and you're drinking maybe a protein shake, right, to recover. Mm-hmm. Get it in within 30, 40 minutes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like a meal.
2 hours is the limit, but really it should just be right afterwards. This way you could get on with your life too. It's not like hanging over your head like, oh, I still have to get to my post-workout, meal or drink. Instead, just knock it out immediately and get on with life.
Well, that's okay. The big bag that you brought up, is that a meal replacement?
No, this one is not. So this is specifically a post-workout catalyst. So there are MRPs. Those are different. They tend to have more carbohydrate in them. A lot of times they might even have fat in them. Because it's specifically there to replace a meal. This is not specifically there to replace a meal. This is specifically there to put muscles on you.
So those are a whole nother
different work.
Yep. Okay. We'll have to talk about that in an episode 2. Is meal replacement.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Stuff. I've had a few in the past. I think it was like a beach body thing.
Yeah.
Give or take. But it was interesting because, it was like I had that and I was like, wow, I'm perfectly full, right? Now, I did last, was it like eating a bowl of pasta? No, but I was like the right amount of full for a majority of the time, which was good. So we'll have to talk about that in a later episode because I think that would be good to talk about and people would want to know information on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, first of all, I just want to say thanks for spending this time with us and, talking about the pre-workout and the post-workout and just giving your knowledge. I think it's amazing. And hopefully everyone here listening to you and being a part of this podcast have learned a great deal. Comment below if you have any questions or you want to talk about your favorite post-workout, pre-workout, and you have some questions for Dr. Max or I, definitely put in the comments and like, share, and subscribe. Dr. Max, do you have anything you would like to add to that?
No, sir. Thanks for joining us today.
Awesome. Thank you again. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to Jacked and Cracked. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Stay aligned, stay strong, and we'll see you next time.